and for today we are going to present our mock.
Hello everyone, how are you today? My name is Joana Bernarbos.
Okay, for this mock, the introduction is: in education, assessment are an essential part of students' learning. Assessment allow us to, as a teachers, to understand what our students are learning and adjust the materials or the topics to their needs and pace. Assessment allows us to improve our process and the process of our students in order to help them grow. It also allows students to identify areas where they struggle so they can improve their process. Therefore, five types of trends will be presented below, which will be explained. An example of an assessment and the result based on the trend will also be shown. A poster summarizing this process in more detail will then be shown, followed by a brief reflection of the process. Thank you.
Okay, in the process of the creating data recurse, they consider on the design and the innovative evaluation the models that the interactive English station in the context with the sustainable development, the goals SDGs. It's done includes the collaborative and the competence-based the practice revealed and the grammatical and the communicative topics and the such as the verb to be, prepositions, daily routine, and the person descriptions, and where the solid and the relate to the social values such and inclusion, the teamwork and the development of the life skills. The implementation was is the career of the town, the use of the digital and the gamified the tools, the worldwide, Educa Play, and generally in Google Forms. And we did strategies such and the shared the rubrics, co-evaluation and the self-evaluations and in collaborative context and the impact evaluation the show well and the positive transformation in their roles on the teaching who become a and the meditors as well as the increases and motivation and participation and development of the communicative digital and socio-emotional competence by the students and the amount the highlinks are the conversational integration of the social values and the attention on diversity focus on the mindful learning and the formation of the critical and the spatial fitness and the community to the global challenge. Thank you.
Okay, for the first trend, we have the collaborative assessment aligned with CDG 17, SDG, sorry, 17, partnerships for the goals. So, the collaborative assessment is a type of assessment that transforms our education because it enables teamwork, communication, and active learning. By engaging students in collaborative assessment process, it promotes reflection, participation, motivation, and a better understanding of the topics covered. It also allows students to develop important skills for their future, such as decision making and problem solving. To implement this type of assessment in a classroom through planning is required, establishing objectives and designing collaborative tasks that foster communication and team learning. Um, a clear feedback and support must also be provided throughout the implementation process to improve the results. In conclusion, this type of assessment is highly formative and allows students to develop skills that will ensure success in their personal and professional lives. Now we have the assessment for the skills for life aligned with SDG 8. So this assessment is a type of assessment that evaluates the most important and essential competencies that allow students to deal with everyday and real life situations. This type of assessment focuses on the development of skill such as critical thinking, effective communication, problem solving, and digital literacy. Furthermore, it focuses not only on academic knowledge, but also on how students develop these of skills in real life. These skills are important to develop so that students can access to decent work as explained in SDG 8 and for inclusive economic growth. In conclusion, type of assessment goes beyond requiring students to memorize things and prepare academically. Rather, it focuses on developing successful individuals, not only in school, but also in real life. Thank you.
Okay. In the next trends is the inclusive assessment, which is the educational trends, and they seeks to adapt the assessment process to the address the diversity of the students in the guaranteeing equality and the participation and recognition of the individual difference. Is the purpose is the offer for the opportunities for all students to demonstrate what they have learned and they consider the needs and the learning styles, the rhythm and context. Indeed, the applies and the done a use of the variety of the reflexive instruments such as the adaptive rubrics, self-assessment, portfolios and observation and the different texts and the allowing each the student to assess the evaluation in a meaningful way is the benefit and include the reduction on the educational exclusion, the increasing of the self esteem and the motivation of the students, as well as the improvement on the learning and the school climate, promoting and the further the more inclusive education. The learning objective, they um, the trends is to develop students the ability to understand the use of the present simple on the context of the and allowing the clearly expression using activities in the schedules and the personal and the other customs and the done visual and the writing products with the depreciation in the grammatical structure or use of the adverbs or the frequently and the correct pronunciation. Um, in the next trends is the following the trends is the created by my partner Mabel, and we is the deal with the following and the competence based the assessment and the align with the is the for the quality education in the educational that the seekers of the evaluate to the student knowledge and the how to the applicability in the real context and overcoming traditional the methods and the focuses only on the memorizations in the purpose in the ensure that students the quality to the knowledge skills attitudes and the are necessary for their personal and non-personal development promoted equality and the education inclusion, and it applied it on the rubrics, the projects and portfolios, authentic evaluation allowing dictation, they observe the student overall progress and the benefits it include the student motivation, the mindful learning, the development of the key life skills, and the improve of the education, the quality, the complying is the with the principles of the sustainable development and the learning objective the trends as is the help children develop skills in the English learning with the learned vocabulary and simple expression, such as the values adjective and the late the reflect on the different and the assessment of the dance. The context of the trends is the instruction of the topic on the adjective and the with the for evaluation of the topic is very creative and they may able according to the them. The finality and the evaluation decrease in the participants in the seat according to the grading done the in educable. And the last trends then labeled by the partner Tania Gisette Castro is the trends is the promotes equality and the inclusions aligned with the SDG 10 the reducing inequalities with the sex to the ensure that the students regardless of their origin the Hunter, the disability and socioeconomic of the cultural condition have the assessment the equitable and the equality education is the improved to prevent the discrimination and promote the educational environment where the student feel the valued and the respects and it is the applied on the inclusive pedagogical strategies, use the adapted materials, reasonable accommodation, the collaborative work, and awareness of the this diversity in the classroom. And the benefits include the creation of the fairs and the more in the empathy school, the communities, the strengthening of the respect and the human rights and the preposition student the leads the together in the more equality and the proposed society. The objective of it is the transit the following to development student ability to use the preposition on the place on the time correctly in English, the tone activity that they promote the awareness of the inclusion and equality aligned with the is the G10 in the reducing inequalities. This is the interaction of the different games and that I am to the my goal is student learn and they have find the simple way. In the context of the trends, in the kind you see in the display of the topic and the preposition of the five activities where the career out very well and the finally the evaluation, the grammar expression, time and place, the quest and the cast in the educa play. Thank you.
Okay. After having done a thorough review of this entire resource, we have these things to improve for every member of the group. So, to edit, the things to improve is add a reflection or production activity where students have to develop and analyze their daily routine, creating a simple text that uses the three types of sentences and includes images to make it more creative. For Tanya, um, she has to create an explanatory video for the type of assessment, specifying what it's for and why it's important. And she has to change the explanatory sections that are in Spanish and translate them into English.
Okay, in the next is the to the more Angelica. The usual it improved to the imagining the sections as it isn't evidence on the course. The usual also the simply improved the objective and were only when the object is in the evidence. Mabel Vargas usually sitting improve the imagine that they can't to the pre, provider. And Alicia. In the general, the recurse is the striking, the very informative, and the educational. The objective is the very long, and they should be more specific so that it does not cover many contexts. The evaluation is the very good, but it is not evidence that it is the as accessible digital recourse. Thank you.
Okay.
Um. Okay.
Okay. Now we have the poster for this that summarize or mock and all the trends that we were working. So we have the introduction, the objective, and the module in this table that explained the this evaluative module, the ODS partner, the aspect of English worked, and the evaluation strategy. So, as we could see, the collaborative assessment worked with the ODS 17 Alliance to achieve objectives and worked with speaking and teamwork. The evaluation strategy for this module was peer assessment, group assignment, and shared rubrics. For the life skill assessment with ODS 8, decent work and economic growth, um, our partner worked with the verb to be, there is and there are, and life skills with the practical activities, problem solving, and discussions. For the inclusive assessment, ODS 10 reduction of inequalities, my partner Edith worked with daily routines, future with will, and visual games with an evaluation strategy about differentiated and inclusive evaluations. The competency-based assessment with ODS for quality educations worked with personal description, writing, reflections. And the evaluation strategy was clear criteria, self-assessment, and achievement-oriented rubrics. And the last one, the grammar for inclusion with ODS 10, reduction of inequalities, worked with prepositions of place and time with an evaluation strategy of about playful and interactive activities that promote equity. So we have the transversal approach to evaluation, like the gamification, the ICT and immediate feedback, the collaborative and inclusive evaluation, the development of key competencies. And we have the pedagogical impact. This evaluation approach proposes a transformation of the teaching role, where the teacher is a guide, mediator, and designer of meaningful evaluative experience. Evaluating is not only grading, it is to accompany, transform, and connect learning with real world challenges. Through this experience, an education that forms critical, empathetic, and globally aware citizens prepared to actively participate in the construction of a more just and inclusive future, is fostered. So we have the reference and picture that summarize in a creative way this this poster. Thank you.
Okay. Um, in conclusion, is and together education the trends is the aligned with the and the search and the competency based the assessment the promotion of the equality and the exclusion, the development of the life skills and the collaborative assessments are the fundamental to the transforming education into and the fighter more meaningful process adapted to the challenge of today's world. They practice not only improves the quality of the learning but also the foster both the search as the equality comparisons and respects and the social responsibility, and by integrating data into the classroom students and they prepared not only the pass the exam and but to the critical emphasis in the citizens who are the able to the activity they contribute to the sustainable development of the communities and the planet. Um, the evaluation implement of the place of the practice and where the healing effective the scenes of the of on the den is was the evidence that the most of the objectives they were the archive archivate the age instrument they may made it possible to the identify and the address to the specific problem on the students with the facility the significant improvements on the different educational scenarios observed. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.